Welcome to Business Minds. This week, we introduce you to Rachelle Se, co-founder of Omy Lab. She's a passionate entrepreneur who made a life mission of hers to create skincare products adapted to every skin type.
We don't just sell product, we sell a complete experience. With Omy, we won more than 60 awards since the beginning of the company.
An inspiring business journey from a positive leader who earned many accolades from the energy she put in her ambitious project with her partner.
Being an entrepreneur is learning through the challenge. So we lost the first company. 1 week later, we were like, we feel ready. And when we started Omy, we had $0, but we were so strong.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and enjoy the episode.
Ready? Yeah. Are you?
Yes, I am.
We're ready? Let's go. Welcome to Business Minds. Today we're delighted to receive Rachelle Se. Rachelle, thank you so very much for being with us today. So you are co-founder of Omy Lab. So can you please tell us a bit more what it consists in so our audience can understand a bit better?
Yes, absolutely. Well, Omy Laboratory, we are a company where we do personalized skincare for each skin. So we are able to create unique cream and serum that permits to have higher tolerance for each skin, but also more effective results in less than 28 days. We are making our product in our lab in Quebec City, where we custom the texture, the scent, but mainly the active ingredients for each product, thanks to our AI. So people are going into our AI, analyze their skin online with a photo and few questions, and then get their formulation, and we ship it in few days from our lab.
Perfect. We will dig into that a bit more later. So first of all, we like to understand where our guests come from. What is their background? So first question is very simple. Where did you grow up, and what kind of job were you dreaming to do as a kid?
So I grew up in the big Montreal area. As a kid, I remember I had an obsession about skincare and cosmetic in general. So I remember at 8 years old trying to take flowers from my neighbor and change it in fragrance. And when I grew up at the age of 16, I built my first website of skincare. So it was named Quartz Cosmetics. And I remember at that time having that idea that one day I would like to have my own laboratory. So I met a chemist that was working in a cosmetic lab that made me visit, and I had that dream, and I was like, one day I will have a lab like this one. So I started to work as a cosmetician in a Shoppers Drug Mart for 7 years during my study, became a chemist specialized in the cosmetic industry. Then I worked in the active ingredient industry. I got the chance to work a lot in New York with several companies to work in encapsulation and several new technology in the skincare industry. And then I did a master in a place where they are growing skin for people that are highly burned. And there is a research lab where I worked in the psoriatic skin. So I tested several ingredients, and I also studied the effect of stress on psoriasis. It's something that interests me a lot too.
Talk about making dreams come true. Congratulations. So circling a little bit back, what was your goal while entering your studies in pharmacy? If I'm correct, yeah.
Well, my goal by entering in my chemistry and also pharmaceutical science study was really to master and understand well the skin to be able to provide more effective skincare and having a different solution that was offered in the market. And that idea of creating a company doing personalized skincare came between my experience as a scientific, but also my work as a cosmetician in the pharmacy, just trying to sell the right cream to the right person. And what I realized is that people have a hard time finding the right product for their skin, and they are exposing themselves to risk of reaction, or they are not satisfied for the texture, the odor, or just don't see enough results. And many people just talk about their skin like if they had only one issue, but a skin is a holistic thing. It's more complex than just having an acne-prone skin or having redness. So that's why personalization for me, it was the best solution to provide more effective skincare, because I was able to consider everything about their skin, many concerns, their type of skin, everything to create the best product for them. So I really dreamed about creating a personalized skincare company when I was at university, and we created with Andrea, the company, when I was doing my master, in fact. So it really started in the lab of the university in 2018.
Wow. And so do you remember a specific moment when you said to yourself, okay, the products out there are not enough. We need some better solution. Do you remember a moment when you realized?
Yeah, I realized this. I had a specific customer. She has such a sensitive skin. And I remember every time she was coming to the pharmacy, I was obsessed about the ingredient list. I was always reading the ingredient list behind and just trying to find, okay, this ingredient is not matching with your skin. You tried that product before and didn't work. So if we were able to find one without that ingredient, it would be great. So I was with her and just trying to find a product that fit her skin. And I was like, if I could remove that or add something else, it would be perfect. But I can't do that. I'm stuck with the options I have on the shelf, and I cannot evolve with her because she had a sensitive skin. She had acne-prone skin. She had redness too. So, I remember how complex it was for her to find a product that was just okay with her. And it's funny because Andrea, my partner, she also had acne-prone skin with rosacea at the same time, and it was so hard for her to find the right product that every time it worsened one of her conditions. So it can be very, very hard for people. And nowadays, it's 1 people out of 2 that have sensitive skin. So the pollution we're exposed to, like the environment we live in, is not helping our skin in general. So, and the stress also, I can add that. But everything together makes it hard. And people also want to use more natural products. And that's something else. I saw a lot of customers trying natural skincare, mostly containing essential oils that were doing skin reaction, important reaction that I saw. And I was like, naturality doesn't help in the way it is right now. So when I created Omy, I had this mind of joining the natural ingredients with the science. So in Omy, we are 95% and plus natural. We are a B Corp certified brand, but we use naturally made ingredients that are good for sensitive skin. So we use a lot of biotech, in fact, because you have less molecule in it. So I won't go in details on that, but I was obsessed about ingredients, decreasing the risk of reaction, but also enhancing the efficacy of the product and the freshness also.
Perfect. And so we understand that you have this kind of double profile, passionate about the skincare issue, and you also have this entrepreneurship fiber in you. Yeah. Can you tell us about this entrepreneurship? Was it something that you had early on? You said you dreamed at some point to create a company about skincare. How did it manifest, and did you have any role models or inspiration figures around you that inspired you in that way?
When I was doing my bachelor, I did an internship in a company named Materium, which was owned by a woman. It was Mathilde Gosselin. And I was so inspired about her. She was an engineer in the head of that company. And I really enjoyed the way she was handling the thing and the way she treats her employees and her vision, how clear it was. Unfortunately, nowadays Materium doesn't exist anymore, but she really gave me an example of what is a leader and how you can work with employees. And she was giving me so much liberty in general to change her business and confidence. And I hope that's what I give also to my employees, is giving them enough liberty and giving them my trust for them to build the company and make it better today. So, yeah.
Did you have any courses about how to manage a team? This is another thing.
Well, in fact, I went to the HSC Accelerator for our first company. I also went to Université Laval. There is Entrepreneurship Laval, which is a place where we have some classes when we want to launch a company. And we were also at the Academy Accelerator of Laval University. So we had a lot of things and insight about how to create a company. I was well surrounded with my partner who studied in business and administration. So I was more on the product side and she was more on the administration side, which I think is a good duo. And we also had a lot of mentors. Since the beginning of the company, we had mentors that could help us and we had different mentor during the time to make sure we always have the right insight for where we were in the company and our growth. So, yeah.
Perfect. And so you alluded to that a little bit before, but before we get really into the heart of the creation of Omy, I'd like to ask you about what happened before. What were the main steps of your career before launching Omy, which happened in 2018?
Yeah. So as I told previously, I finished my bachelor. I did an internship with Materium. I worked a little bit at Lucas Meyer, which was a company specialized in the active ingredient industry. So I did have the chance to work with ingredients that are sold to other big companies internationally. And I worked a little bit on the marketing side also at that moment.
Okay.
So it was where I developed the marketing a little bit more. And
was
also,
it intentional? Sorry.
Yes.
Did you want to? Okay.
Yes. I think one thing that I love about science is the way we can explain it to the customer. And marketing is a way of using the science and transmit it to other persons. So what I like about active ingredient industry is that you start with very deep research and you transform that research into things that you can sell to big companies in skincare. And you need to talk about trends, talk about like what they are looking as a brand. So it's a bit the same thing at Omy. We work with very active ingredient that have a lot of science and data behind, and we sell a complete product to a customer. So the way we talk and we use that data is different. So I love vulgarization in general. I think it's one of my strengths. So, yeah.
And so, yeah, again, were there any important steps before you got to the point of creation of Omy?
So after that, I did my master, and I launched a company when I was doing my master. So that's where we started the company. So we were still students when we launched the company. So there wasn't any big step other than just having that dream and realizing with our studies that there was a great opportunity.
How did you meet, if I may ask?
Yeah, good question. Andrea and I didn't know each other. We were two cosmeticians in two separate pharmacies, and finally we had. Both of us had a dream. Mine was named Crème Création, which was a concept of personalized skincare. And she had also a concept of personalization in cosmetic industry. And both of us went to Entrepreneurship Laval and the resource we had to pitch our concept. So there was someone who knew the both of us that made us connect, and that's how it started. And it's funny because at that time I was still working in the active ingredient industry, and I had a show in New York, and I told Andrea, come with me, we'll go to the show and you will discover like the suppliers and everything behind. So that's how it started. We had such a good fit since the beginning. And just for you to know, Andrea and I had the first company before. It wasn't a success, to be honest. We learned a lot about it. It was with another partner. We had some vision disconnection. So when we started Omy, we lost everything in our first company. All of our money we had accumulated through the years in that first company. And when we started Omy, we had $0, but we were so strong on what vision we wanted for the company. We wanted to do research. We wanted product that would have a great impact. So that was like our main focus, and that's how we convinced a lot of people to help us at the beginning.
Okay, and about this previous company, was it also in skincare with a similar mission?
Similar a little bit, not. It was more body care, so it was different. Okay. I think it was like a good way to learn a lot about ourselves, and yeah.
Excellent. And so getting there now, what was the moment that you decided to create Omy? How did the process of saying, okay, now is the time, how did that happen?
Yeah, so we lost the first company. 1 week later, we were like, we feel ready to start a new one. Oh, really? With our vision. Wow. And to pitch it. So we created the company 1 week after. We were like, okay, let's pitch it. Let's pitch our idea. We didn't found the name right away, so we have like a weird name from the previous version, but the vision was clear. We wanted to create skincare that was fully personalized, backed by science. So our plan to go there was to create a project with the National Council of Research of Canada that helped us to hire our first employee, which is a French pharmacist that has done also study in Quebec. We were working in the same lab during my master, and she created with me the first formula we sold on the market. So it took about a year of R&D. We were able to pitch our idea of creating customized skincare thanks to AI in several contests. We won more than $1,400 in several contests to be able to pay for that research and be able to sell our first product in 2019.
Okay, perfect. And can you tell us a little bit more about the pitching process? You say you were pitching. How did you were you contacting investors? Were you trying to do competition? How did it work?
Yeah, we decided not to go with investors at the beginning of the company because we wanted a certain control at the beginning. So we decided to go with grants and several contests there is in the entrepreneurial community of Quebec in general. So we had some grants coming from university where there was some pitch involved. We also had that National Council of Research of Canada that we did a project of $50,000. And we also had some small pitch, for example, Force Avenir, aux Entreprendre, which are helping people in the first step of creating a company. So we had like all those help coming to us, and that also helped us create credibility and notoriety for the brand at the beginning. So it was like getting money, but also getting that recognition. And when we went to take a loan after we had raise a certain amount of money like that, but we also had all those contests that were supporting us in the process of getting a grant. So not a grant, but a loan. So it was very helpful in the first step.
Okay, perfect. And so you mentioned you did not find the name right away,
yeah.
Omy. So what was the thinking process about it, and what does it stand for, Omy?
Yeah. Well, Omy is a mix of a three core value that we have. And that's why it took time, because we were still having our previous company name in the head, and we're like, okay, how do we find something else that represents us? So we were writing value, and one important value at Omy is experience. Like, we don't just sell product, we sell a complete experience. Like, if people are not satisfied with their custom formula, they just come back to us. We reformulate the product until it's perfect for them. I was obsessed with that customer in the pharmacy in the past of trying to find the right skincare for us, but I'm as much obsessed nowadays with our company. So everything is around the customer and making sure he has a great experience that surpasses what he has in mind at the beginning. So so experience is present in the O of Omy. So it's the onomatopoeia O, the exclamation, and that means the experience. After you have Om, Aum, which is the mantra Aum that you probably heard, which represent the naturality, the transparency. We're a certified B Corp company. We are thinking about our impact in everything we do. So the impact is it can be in the packaging, in the formula. We have a strict chart of formulation that exclude more than 2,000 components. So we're very, very strict on the environmental part, but also the security. Our products are adapted for pregnancy. So everything is think around transparency, naturality, and impact. And also there is the me or the my that we can that obviously represent the personalization. So personalization is at the core of a company. So it's a mix of experience, naturality, transparency, and personalization together. And it can also means only made for you in English, OMY. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. And so, as we said, the company started in 2018. The first product was launched / sold in 2019.
Yeah.
What were the main steps, the key moments since then that made what Omy is today?
Well, there was a key moment in 2019 where we passed to Dans l'œil du dragon, which was
Dragon's Den.
it's like the Dragon's Den, and that visibility really helped us get known by people that didn't knew about customized skincare at all. So that's a big part for the company that really helped us in the few first year. It also helped us in getting visibility with influencers and other people. So it was very good. In 2021, we raised $2 million non-dilutive to move into our new lab. So that's another important part where we had some support of several places to build that lab. At the beginning, we were selling from Laval University lab, so at the very, very, very beginning. So in 2021, we had that move, and then in 2022, we raised a Series A of $11 million. So this Series A was really to fuel the growth of the company in the Canada, but also the US. So that's a big part of where we are today.
Excellent. And how many employees do you have now?
Now we are more than 60 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, we have some employees in Ontario, Montreal, and Quebec, where is our lab.
Okay, a question about this, because you mentioned that you had some mentorship in university and like different help in courses. How do you learn to manage such a big team for a start and such big financing? Because it can be overwhelming to say, okay, I have all of this to handle, I cannot mess up. Yeah. How do you learn to do all of this?
Well, I think being an entrepreneur is learning through the challenge and surrounding yourself when you're not sure about something. So before we raised the $11 million Series A, we already had an advisory committee that we met each quarter to make sure we were aligned in the decision we were taking. We always made a strategic plan also for each year. Since the beginning of the company, it was like something we use a lot, the business model canvas, obviously. For the managerial path, more like the leader you can be, it's more through the books, podcasts, or other things. I really think it can help you grow as a person, and if you focus on your weakness, it can help you build on that. So it's a mix of the two, and Andrea already had more experience in the finance. She was working previously at Revenu Québec, and she was working with like millions of dollars to manage project in IT. So she was used to manage all the finance part, and in my case, I really learned to be a leader in the team related to marketing, product, and sales.
Okay, excellent. And so we understand that your mission was very clear, creating products for every issue about every types of skins.
Yeah.
And so after 6 years of existence, you've been pretty successful so far. What will be your ambitions for the future now? Now that you've already kind of succeeded in what you wanted to do, what will be the next steps?
Well, the next steps are mostly growing through the markets. Like we achieve a great entrance in Quebec. Now we work a lot on Canada, and I do think we are in a business where the level of awareness needs to be very high before the first purchase. Like a cream that you put on your face, it's a big commitment for someone. It's almost like medical. It's very near to that. So compared to makeup is more like, okay, I feel it could be great on me. So it's much easier to grow in makeup business. So going in new markets with a skincare business can be very, very hard, but the loyalty you get after is impressive. Like our investor have never saw as much repeat business in the cosmetic cosmetic industry as we see at Omy. And that's why we were able to raise a Series A like that, because we were almost like a SaaS business, like almost like an app that you subscribe because people see results and then they rebuy the product after, because the product do really works for everyone that buy it. So that's a main point.
Okay, so talking about expansion, where, in what countries would you like to go?
Well, I'm trying to focus for the next like 3 to 5 years, mostly in Canada and US. But after that, it's sure that we think about opening Europe, Asia. But I honestly try to focus as much as possible, because those two markets are really, really big markets in the cosmetic industry. And if we do a great expansion in those markets, it will be awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. And so we talked about the financial help that you received that helped you grow. You also received a few awards for Omy that kind of helped you as well. How important is it for a company like you to get such recognition? And were you able to see an impact on your sales and your activities?
Absolutely. Well, there are several type of awards. So with Omy, we won more than 60 awards since the beginning of the company. At the beginning, it was more entrepreneurial awards. After, it was more impact awards, because we're really focused on the impact we have on society, but also on the planet. And other than that, recently we applied to contest of product, and that's really, really helpful, because we won contests that the previous company were SkinCeuticals, La Mer, Clarins, which are big brands that are well known in the international, and our product won on those categories the year later. So that's something that we're very proud. We just won in the a very big award in Canada. We won the beauty award of fashion and Châtelaine in the field of the best cream for acne-prone skin, the best serum for acne-prone skin, and the best serum for redness, because one product won in 2 categories. That's the proof that we are doing really good personalized skincare. So we are winning contests, and it's helping us on people seeing our brand and not seeing us like a small brand. They are seeing us, okay, they are winning against like the biggest brand of the world, so they must be very effective. So
surely helps the credibility. Another thing that helped your credibility, you mentioned it earlier, it was your pitch at Dragon's Den in the show in Quebec. Yeah. We were wondering, how do you prepare for such an experience? How does it work? Because we only see a short moment on TV, but it must be a long time of preparation, and also afterwards. How was the experience like for you?
The experience was awesome. Andrea and I were pretty good in pitching, and the reason why we were good is, even if we didn't make everything, even if we didn't have so much thing done and sales done, our vision was so clear that we were able to answer almost any question, because we had made the calculation of how it would work. So our vision was on paper. So when we would prepare for that, we were asking the worst question you can imagine, and we needed to be ready to answer those questions. And that's how you prepare to any pitch, because when you pitch to someone, their goal is to destroy what you said. So you must be ready for the worst question. And if you're not ready for the worst question, you're not ready to pitch. So I think it must be a question of putting your vision clear, making sure the numbers match with your vision, and then you're ready to pitch. Yeah.
Excellent. And so also, as you alluded to earlier as well, in 2023, Omy received the B Corp certification for its positive social and environmental impact. It's a reward for the values you carry, mostly. What does it mean for you, again, to receive such a recognition?
Well, I was very proud that we achieved to get the B Corp certification, because I realized since the beginning of the company, we were taking some decisions based on values, and I was always looking to the several certification, like natural, vegan. There are so many certifications in the cosmetic business, but like this one was very important to me because it made a lot of sense. It wasn't just being natural, just being vegan. It was looking at the whole facet of the company, from the impact we have by donation, by implication, by how we treat employees, by who we hire, by the diversity, like everything that we did naturally because it was important to us was reflected on that certification. And we did work to get it for sure. Like we put some other thing in place, and it was like a long process, but still it just represents who we are as a company and evaluate us not just only on one parameter, but the whole company. So yeah, that's why it was important for me.
Excellent. And so good transition. Overall, about maybe all of your career, but mostly with Omy probably, what are you most proud of in your career today?
Yeah, the thing I'm the most proud of is mostly like looking at the team we have today and all the impact we had in the customers. So like those, it's two separate parts. When I see the team, it's crazy to think that a small idea of two students in university nowadays, like we are a team of 60, we are creating jobs in our area, like we did, like that's something I'm very proud of for sure. But the other part is when I see, and since the beginning, one of my favorite things to do is just reading testimonials on the impact we have with our product. Like, if you have 2 minutes, just go on the website and look to a few comments. And that's like, it just makes sense. That's why we created Omy. Some people were like, we even have a customer, she called us and she was like, I just sold my house. I have $100,000 to invest in your company. Who do I need to talk to? And we're like,
wow,
what? So it came up to us. We didn't had any opportunity of investment at that moment, but we talked with her and she was like, I had problem with eczema and like with my skin for the last 40 years. I was scared as that to go out of my house, to work, to go like anywhere. And you're like, she had even before and after photo, and I was like, that's crazy. Like that girl passed so many years not having confidence and just she had some dead skin on her face and couldn't do anything. She was followed by dermatologists, but if you use a skincare that don't match your skin, it's an issue. You will worsen your skin for a long time. So in 28 days, she saw her skin completely change, and she was like, you need to be everywhere, in the pharmacy, in the hospital. And we're like, okay, understood. But like that's crazy. Just helping one person like that, it's my whole salary for a year. That's such a big impact. But there are like just reading the comments is such a good thing for me.
Quite an accomplishment indeed.
Yeah.
And so looking now at the other half of the coin, what is the most difficult situation you ever had to handle, and what are the tips you learned of how to get out of it?
Well, honestly, like in terms of difficult situation, I would say there are always small challenges every time, but not a big one that I was like, okay, this one is like such a big mountain to go. But I remember at the beginning of the company, Andrea and I were on the couch and we were crying our life because we're like, okay, we need to take a first loan, and like it's scary for two students to do that. Like you've been told all your life, you need to take care of your money, don't spend it too much. Like that's what you've heard for your whole life, and now you're like, okay, I need to take the risk, and if it doesn't work, I will go through bankruptcy, and that's not like something I want to go to. But like you need to trust a lot in your idea, and finally we went through that loan. It was such a good idea that we did it, but it can be scary as that. So yeah, that's one challenge. But there were other challenges where we like raising the Series A was quite a big challenge too. But I think in those two cases is believe in you, stay in control, stay confident, and that's mostly it. Things that needs to happen, and don't hesitate to take risk. That's something we learned a lot. If you believe on something, if your plan is clear, just go for it. Yeah.
Excellent. And so after all of this, what do you think are the most important skills that you learned throughout your...
There are multiple skills that I do think we grow as much as a person compared to the company. Like entrepreneurial growth is something very important as growing as ourselves. So one thing that is a great tool for entrepreneurs is vulnerability. Like I think that being coachable, listen to people, don't try to be the most powerful people on earth. People don't mind about that. Show your weakness. I think that's my biggest strength. I'm never scared of what the person in front of me will think about me, or like they will think, oh, like she's don't looking like a president of the company. I don't mind. I'm here because I want to be my best self for the company, and I want to work on my weakness, and don't hide those weaknesses to your employees and the people you work with, partners and everything. So vulnerability is really a great tool we can have as an entrepreneur. And I would say also, how do you suscite innovation in a team? That's something I learned because when you start a company at the beginning, you have your vision. Everything's clear. You know where to go. But at a certain point, you're surrounded by people that also have great brains. So how do you bring those brains to create with you instead of challenging each other? So I worked a lot on brainstorming techniques and the way I communicate to make sure I was co-creating and not like diminishing their ideas. So small things, for example, if you have a brainstorm and someone have an idea, but you're unsure about that idea, don't tell, oh no, like, but if we could do something else, and not build on that idea instead of diminishing the idea. And that's something we don't realize, but we use a lot the word but, if, but instead of doing that, just build on it. And like people will feel more confident, and you will also create more ideas, and the other around the table will feel competent also, and that their idea will be heard. So that's something important in brainstorming, but problem solving in general too.
Very well. Excellent. And now, as we talked about it before as well, you are a co-founder of Omy, which means that there's two of you leading the company. How has it been like to run a company with a partner for the last few years?
Yeah. Well, Andrea and I never had a fight. So the reason why it was like that, it's because of our previous company. Our previous company was such a headache, and we saw what it is to be in fight with our partner. Like, that's something you don't want to go through, because if you don't have the same vision, the same value, you will fight on things that doesn't add value to the company, and you will lose your energy on that. So because of that first experience, we realized how important that relation is, and sometimes just put a little bit of water in your wine is something very good, and just focus on your value and vision, and making sure those are aligned is very important. So protecting that relation is so important to protect the business in the long term. So in our case, we don't fight, we co-create together, and we just try to be the best person as we can be, both of us. So, yeah.
Excellent. And so another thing that you talked about a little bit before is the risk aspect of entrepreneurship. As you said before, it seemed like you did not hesitate much in creating Omy. How do you deal with the risk that you have to carry all the way along with the journey of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Well, even if you have the biggest company in the world, there is almost always a risk. And nowadays, I think we give a lot of value to the material and all that around us. But at the end of it, it doesn't matter. So in my head, how it works is, if I can live with the worst case scenario, I will go through that risk. So the worst case scenario is what? Okay, I might go through bankruptcy. I might go through like losing my house, losing my car, losing everything, but I won't lose myself. I won't lose all the experience I gained from that path. And that's something no one can revoke me. It just, I will keep my family, I will keep my relation. That's something you keep. So once you agree to that, what risk do you have, in fact? So you just go forward.
Very beautiful perspective. Thank you for sharing. Now, what are the top 3 things that you wish you knew before becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, there are a lot of things that I learned through that process. So vulnerability is one. Another thing is working. Well, I did it because I was an entrepreneur, but if I knew it before, I would apply it in my life before. So what I think is, as an entrepreneur, you're faced to challenge every day. You're faced to situations that can increase your level of stress pretty high in general. But if you work your whole life on facing your fear, facing your stress, and don't hesitate in front of a situation, it can really help you as an entrepreneur. I'll give you a small example. So when I was 16 and before, I was so shy. Like I wasn't able to talk in front of someone without my voice shaking, my hand shaking. It was like I was really, really shy. And it took many years after I decided to do a class of singing, a singing class, because I was like, if I can sing, I will try to control more my voice, and then I will be able to sing in front of people. So I should be able to talk after. So facing your fear, facing what can be a stress to you, raise you as a person. So if you do that, if you're scared of the spider, which I was starting by taking small spiders in my hand, but that's true.
Wow.
And if you control that, when something happens in your business, you keep the control and you can face any challenge. So keeping your calm, you can't control situation. That's something you can't control, but you can control your mind. And how you control your mind is by facing small challenges every day. I'm such a fan of cold bath. I have a cold plunge at home. Everything related to growing as a person is something important to me, and facing challenge daily and growing is something that makes you stronger as an entrepreneur. So the faster you work on your challenge, the more control you have, the more prone you are to take right decision when you're in front of risk or, yeah.
Impressive. We will take the advice. Thank you again. Now, a few more specific questions about Omy. One thing we noticed that on your website, there's a list of all the products you use in your products. And more importantly, there's a list of the products you will never use.
Yeah.
How important is such transparency for you? We understood that it was part of the name of the company. And do you understand why it is such a challenge for certain companies to have this transparency?
Absolutely. Like when a formulator comes at Omy, it's a headache for them to formulate, okay? Because there is no place where they can take a formula already done and just do a little switch and bring that formula to their market. They need to construct everything almost from zero. So it's such a challenge for them, and they need to work with new technologies, things that they don't necessarily worked with for many years. So it really is a challenge for a formulator that comes at Omy. And I do understand why other companies choose not to do that, because it takes more time, it takes more testing. You think you have the right formulation, finally challenge test doesn't pass, new type of it's really more complex, more costful, but at the end of it can bring great innovation in the market. So it's a cost, and also in terms of expense, it's more expensive to work with new kind of ingredients, biotech, than ingredients that are produced in mass that are used by all the companies. So there is that also to consider.
Excellent. Now, another thing that we noticed about your company is that in the beginning, in the message, you said you wanted to help every skin for any women to find a solution, and later it evolved to you wanted to find a solution for everyone. Yeah. Was it conscious, or was it just a branding thing, or did you see an evolution in the capacity that you had? How did that happen?
Well, in fact, I always saw skincare as we create product for skin, not for a gender. And the reason why we were talking more about women at the beginning is that we were surrounded by advice of you need your target customer, you need to focus on your target customer. But that's why we were talking about women. But in fact, behind, we always done testing on all gender, all phototypes also. When we talk about inclusivity, it's very important for us. Like we always include all the phototypes into our testing. That's something that really matters. And what we realized during the time is that our solution, for example, our custom cream can become an aftershave for men because we had some ingredients that help to suit aftershave. We also realized that we were helping people in sex transition because they are using hormonal therapy and it impacts a lot the skin. So we were creating formula that were helping them also. So we realized like it didn't make sense for us to go with a target customer and say we address 40 to 60 women between it's not Omy. We are offering product that really have an impact on people that want to look for product that are effective. So yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. And so another question about the marketing of Omy is that in the beginning and maybe even now, the colorimetry, if I may say so, is pretty simple and clean, kind of pharmaceutical looking. But recently, it felt like there's been an evolution that it became slowly more colorful.
Yeah.
Is it wanted? Is it on purpose? How did the process happen?
Well, we have a new CMO in the team, and she really helped us in the marketing side of it. Because in my case, I'm a scientist, so my vision of Omy was like, product must breathe all the science we do behind. So we need to look at the product and understand all what is hidden beside it. But for my marketing, my CMO, like she was like, yes, but it needs to pop when we do ads, you know? So we try to find a balance between the two. And I do think we find the right option. So, because just white doesn't pop a lot on the feed or anything. So it's just a mix between the two.
Excellent. Another question about something we alluded to earlier is the international expansion. In the quick growth that you've known, even in the Canada market, how do you handle such a quick growth in terms of production, recruiting, and even logistics? How do you manage the growth at such a speedy space?
So when we raised the Series A, we already had growth plan for the operation marketing. Like it's always a question of vision and writing what you will do at which step. So what I see is to grow, you need to be 2 steps in advance in terms of operation, in terms of your team in place. That's why it costs a lot to grow, because you already need to plan, okay, when I will achieve that amount, do I have everything in place? Do I have the manufacturing in place? Like, it's always a question of, do you have the resources already ready for that potential growth? And if you're ready, when you will achieve it, you will be okay, and you will be working on the next step. So it's always a question of like building before it happens. The problem with growth is that if you grow too much and you don't have the resources or the manufacturing place or everything in place to achieve that, you will face other challenge that you don't necessarily want to face. So it's always a question of great planning, realistic planning also. If you think you will get, 4 times bigger in a month, that's not realistic though. So don't plan that. Like, just keep it realistic, do the planning, do the maths, and make sure you're already ready for the bigger next step.
Okay, the importance of planning, it brings me to a bonus question. What do you think is the secret to a successful startup in any kind of industry?
Solving a problem. Like, I see startups that have a good idea, but there is no market, or the problem isn't big enough. So I think if you solve a problem that touch a lot of people and that there isn't great solution right now on the market, you will have the chance to be successful. The problem sometimes is that if you don't solve a problem, you're a side product. Like, it can be a trend, it can work, but you're more at risk than someone that arrive with an innovation that really solve something on a market. So I think problem solving and great market is really what can bring companies to grow and be successful.
Very well, thank you for this. And so a question that we ask to all of our guests, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And would you give the same piece of advice to your 20-year-old self?
Two things. First, look around you to see if there are people you can help or solve a problem, because if you're focused on your own self, you don't look at other people. And I would say the second piece is just believe in your goal and your dream. I think that's an important thing about me, is that I had something in my mind and I did small steps days after days to get to that vision. So if you have a dream and you believe in something, just follow your path, be patient, because it can take years. Like in my case, it started at 16 and it took like 10 years. But like just do small steps every day and it will bring you to that vision one day, I'm sure.
Excellent. Thank you for this again. So this leads us to the last few questions of this interview. How would you like to be remembered by your coworkers and collaborator on the day you retire?
Someone with who you can have fun and create. I want to be someone that you think, oh, with her we were creating things and we were having fun. Yeah.
Excellent. Very beautiful again. If you could have a private meeting with someone, anyone dead or alive, who would that be?
I would say Steve Jobs. The reason is mostly like his creativity, his vision, his innovation. Yeah.
Very, very clear. And last question of this interview. After everything we've said, what is your biggest dream?
My biggest dream would be to see Omy having an impact in multiple places in the world. And my true dream inside is to create resources and new job here in Canada. So I would be proud if we stay a Canadian business and we sell outside of Canada and the world to create something here.
Well, that's all we wish you for. And so thank you very much for being with us today. This was Rachelle Se on Business Minds.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My funniest memory in a work environment is very funny. It was at the beginning of the company. We didn't have a lab yet, and I was still living in university residence. And we were working sometime in the study room, trying to make some product and doing some tests. And that day, there was Andrea and her mother in the room. And Andrea is Colombian. And someone entered in the study room and was very scared and closed the door and called the security because they thought we were doing some cocaine in the study room because we had some big white box on the counter. And finally, the security arrived and they were like, "What are you doing?" We were like, "Well, we have cream. Do you want to test it?" So it was a funny story. Yeah.